I'm Maynard with First and Foremost, and I'm going to show you step by step how to build this shed. Today we're going to be focusing on the exterior walls and the roof. So let's get started and make it happen, Captain. All right, to start marking the walls and lay everything out, we're going to pull a 4-inch measurement from our exterior band inwards on the back wall and the side corner. We're going to mark 4 inches both ways and square that up. And once we get that line, we will be able to pull our overall dimension towards the front. Yeah, that's really good, Wheezy. Now our overall dimension is 12 foot. So we're taking off 4 inches for the back wall for framing and plywood, 4 inches off the front wall for framing and plywood. That'll leave us at 11'4". So I'm just gonna go ahead and mark that, which I'm 11'8" to the outside. That's really good. I'll mark that there. Let's go over here and mark the same thing. And we can make sure our parallels are perfectly straight. So now you can pop this side and pop the front. Here you go, I'll take that one. It'll just make the rafters that much easier. Now that we have our 4-inch line marked around the perimeter, when we measure the back wall plates, we only want to stick our tape measure over 3.5 inches. And that'll be to allow the plywood to overlap that corner and tie into the other wall. So we only want to stick our wall past 3.5 inches. Hold me on 3.5 right there on that red line, Wheezy. We'll go 3.5 over here. It says 1, 2, 3. When we hook the outside of the corner, you need to pull 15.25 set ahead. That's 3/4 inch back from the red mark that already exists on your tape. And then move your tape over and pull from there and mark 16 inches on center. That's a good, strong, proper spacing. And a big part of why this shed is going to be as sturdy and last as long as it will. We're going to make an L corner to use less wood and still get the same job done. We're going to put one on either side. Now you'll notice that we tacked that bottom plate down nice and straight because we are going to attach plywood to this wall before we stand it up. And that's just to save a little bit of time and to keep the wall a little bit more braced off. To make these corners, all we do is just flush one edge up there, and that is to keep us at 3.5 inches. Making sure those crowns all go the same way is really good for your interior sheetrock and shelves. Let me tack this thing off, just lay it kind of flat there for me. Again, right here at the end of the wall, you don't want to mark so tight for that top plate that's going to be coming from the side wall. So we're going to mark about 3 5/8. We're going to start our secondary top plate from there. And that'll just give us a little play when it's time to level up and square those walls. There's one benefit of building and doing everything on the ground. It just saves a little ladder time, being that wall is against the fence and there's not much room back there. Normally, we'll start the walls with a 15-inch-and-a-quarter or 15-and-a-quarter-inch layout. But being that we want our plywood to overlap and catch this wall as well, we're gonna move the first stud over 4 extra inches and start from 11-and-a-quarter. Because if you add 11-and-a-quarter plus the 4-inch width of the wall, it equals 15-and-a-quarter, and that first sheet of plywood will be able to wrap around and tie into that wall and be really, really strong. So we'll mark our first mark at 11-and-a-quarter set ahead, and from that point forward, we will go with our 16 mark that is already on most tape measures. You need 11 altogether, TJ. And we are not gonna have to tack these down because we're not installing plywood all at once. It's gonna be a tall little shed, buddy. Now with this overlapping top plate, we really want to make sure that we overhang 3.5 inches to grab that back wall. So put a little mark there so we can see down here and transfer that view. Tack it there. So as you can see here, guys, we raised this 2x10 header all the way tight to the top. And the reason we do that on this shed is because if we kept it down at the same level as the other window jacks, we'd have some little 1 3/4 blocks up at the top there, and they just wouldn't be very big and probably break all to pieces with the nail gun and this power of these pneumatic tools. So instead we raise it up top, and then that 1.5 inch difference that we would have, we'll just put a solid 2x4 on the bottom here. And that'll make that difference be a lot cleaner framing. So before you can install plywood on the exterior side of the wall, you need to make sure that both side walls are plumb and level. So we'll slide our level in here. Make sure that thing is nice and plumb. Ahí mero. Nail it up the stud too. There you go. That would be nice and strong and hold that level so where that plywood will be straight on them stud lines. Do that for the other side and the front as well. All right, this one's gotta go out just a little bit. Leave it right there. No, leave it right there. Push the brace out a little bit. Right there, Weezy. Clavarla. It's not bad. Yeah, I'm gonna hold it up a little higher. That's it right there. We want to mark 48 inches up here at the top so we can make sure the sheath lines up straight. It's always good to put a little bit helper nails there so all that weight of that plywood's not on you while you're trying to nail it off. Puppies are having a fit over there. Levantarla. This is the Metabo HPT, and I'd like to thank them for sponsoring this video. Not for real though, just for play. But it is a good gun. It's always a good idea, guys, when you have a cut on that finish out of the plywood, to put that factory edge against the previous sheet that you're working with to give you a much nicer finish. As you know, much of it think we're the straightest cutter in the world. It'll take out any inconsistency you have with the cut and make it into an insignificant place. That's it. Walls and Tyvek, Housewrap and vinyl, all looking really good. Let's get ready for the roof. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button to make sure you don't miss any of our videos as we upload weekly. We're going to cut the ridge out of 2x8, and we're going to use 2x8 because it's a little bit longer than the actual cut on our rafter. So we're gonna go ahead and lay it out on the ground, or on this bench rather, before it's really high up in the air and makes it really hard to get to or reach to off of a ladder. So the same thing as when we started our wall framing, we're gonna start this first dimension here at 15 1/4 instead of head, and then move our tape measure and mark every 16 inches so we know exactly where our rafter goes. And it'll be already ready for us when we're up there. Another key point is you always want to mark that crown up, because as you can see here down the edge of this board, it has a little arc that will eventually plane down. So you want to always have those arcs, or crowns that we call them, pointed up. We'll square these marks and transfer them to the other side, and then we'll be ready to install some rafters. All right, so we're going to mark our ceiling joist 15 1/4 set back from the mark, so that way the ceiling joist can sit on the wall, and then the rafter we'll put from 15 1/4 set ahead, so it'll sit right beside the ceiling joist and we won't have any conflicting spaces. So for now we'll mark a J backwards so we know that that's where the joist goes. Now, being our building was 12 foot wide, plywood to plywood, these ceiling joists are cut 11 foot 11, so that they can go outside of the front, so they can go outside of the rough framing wall to the outside of this wall and not protrude into the rafter too much. So now that we got this ridge board cut 15 foot 11, we'll be able to attach our rafters to that. We know it's already the width of our building outside to outside on the framing. Then we'll be able to fill in these corner rafters, middle rafters, and then the whole rafter side to side. All right, Weezy, give me one in the front. All right, so I'm gonna get this, he's gonna hold that end up for me. I'm gonna attach these two sides of the rafters right here. Once I'm good and tight off right there, I'll go ahead and put two more rafters on his side, and then we'll put two in the middle. Once I'm at that point, I'm probably gonna level and put a brace. It's a big L plywood, Buck. All right, clavarlo right there, a los dos por cuatro. We're gonna wanna put a couple fill-in rafters kinda in the middle. You don't wanna do one side at a time because it'll put all that pressure against the ridge and kinda make it push in this way. So we're gonna probably put one about the fourth rafter, skip a few, put another one, and their opposing rafter. And at that point, there won't be allowed to be much movement and we'll be able to fill in that way. Now that she's pretty tight and we have the spread out and contrary rafters, we can go ahead and fill in the complete side. Now we're kind of rushing through the roof portion of the sheathing, but one thing you really need to know is from the tail up where we popped a 48.5-inch line, and that's where we're following the top of this sheet with, so we can keep our plywood perfectly straight and help us keep our shingles perfectly straight as well. So we'll be moving this up and down to coincide with that 48.5-inch line from the bottom to make sure it stays generally straight. And whether we're using nails or staples like I'm using here, you always want to make sure you're nailing about 3 inches on center around the two edges and through the field here in the middle, approximately 5 to 8 inches in between your nails. It's not really necessary to put a whole lot. Just stick to that nailing pattern and you'll be good to go. Trying to beat this rainstorm. We got a little bit of rain coming in tonight and all day tomorrow. See if we can get this thing dried in. Goodbye. We just barely made it before the rain came, but we were able to get the underlayment installed. In our next episode, we are going to tackle the gables, shelf, ramp, and windows. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of it. And until next time, you guys have a great day.